Hey Igor, good evening. Okay, let's go to your second set of compositions. Dude, I'm gonna start with the independent one. First of all, very good if you write 320 words in TOEFL, it's gonna be great. But there are one mistake here, another there. For example, although you need H, paths, there was an E here. Possibly it's written like this. On guard. You know, this is dynamic. As you can see here, it's with the letter Y. It's not a big deal, really. Just as I told you last video, TOEFL is not going to focus on every little mistake. You know, they're going to focus on the overall arguments. There is just one that I'd like to talk about to you. And if you already know this is just to remind you, and that's it. But perhaps you would better think more as a friendship keeper. You cannot have this letter S. Why not? Oh my God, why cannot do it? Because friendship in this situation is an adjective. And adjectives in English never go plural. In fact, adjectives in English don't go female, don't go plural. They don't change, you know? So every time we got, in this situation, friendship keeper, friendship would be an adjective in the sentence, okay? Probably this would be the only real mistake TOEFL would consider. All the others, they would just ignore. Look, trust me, really. Now, this is a very well modeled and very well written essay. Awesome, very good. But I'm going to tell you one thing that probably you are not going to like. TOEFL is more stupid than you are. And what I mean is this. The structure TOEFL wants you to use is square than the structure you were using. What do I mean? You took a position in the last paragraph. What does TOEFL want you to do? It wants you to take a position in the introduction and use 3 arguments to defend your position. This is a very, very good, this is a very, very good prompt because just as I told you, recent TOEFL has changed to you agree or disagree with the sentence, you know? So it's going to be something like this. And TOEFL wants you to take a position in the introduction, and for the next 3 paragraphs, you give 3 arguments why you chose to agree or why you chose to disagree. You know, so you talked about the situation. You made a very good discussion here, very interesting. But you just only took a position here. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I firmly disagree with this statement proposed, and that's what TOEFL expects you to do in the beginning of the composition, so that they know which side you are going to defend. Okay, so independent writing, it's pretty much more stupid than the discussion you've put here. You know, they want something very square, and that's the same case in integrated. In integrated, TOEFL wants you to do this. Your introduction was very, very, very good. My suggestion, even so, is for you to focus less in the introduction, something very short, just as I showed you last class, and for the next 3 paragraphs, you embody them a little more. Because if you save words in quotes, in the introduction, you can describe a little more of the arguments in the 3 paragraphs. Now, one of the criteria they use is how clear you were when you talked about the lecture and when you talked about the passage, you know? And it's not so clear. Of course, as I read it, I understood what you meant. And you spoke of both. But TOEFL is, let's put it that way, is a very dumb testing criteria, you know? So they want something like this. Secondly, the passage stated that the light and the color shows that it was not a, what's the name of that guy? Rembrandt? Yeah, I don't speak Dutch, so I have no idea how to pronounce this word here. Rembrandt's painting. On the other hand, the professor in the lecture states that the color was painted many years later to add value to the painting. And so it is true that the color is not adjusted with the light, but it doesn't stand away, it doesn't take away the fact that who did it was really Rembrandt, okay? So that's what they really want you to do, to say what the passage stated and say what the lecture stated in a very clear way. I have here with me the criteria they use. Hang on. And there we are. They're going to give you a grade from 0 to 5. Okay, and check it out. To take a 3, you might take a 3 if the relationship between the key points in the passage in the lecture is not accurate or complete or is stated in very general terms. The evaluator might include your essay into this category if it just believes that you were not clear in stating which information came from the passage and which piece of information came from the lecture. So although I totally comprehended what you meant to say, my suggestion is be a little dumber, you know? I know that sounds ridiculous, but seriously, TOEFL is they have very square criteria, you know, so we have to be very clear in indicating what which information came from where. Both the TOEFL examinations I took, I was thanks God, very well evaluated in writing, and I wrote dumb essays, you know, completely different from an academic composition, for example. It has to be very clear, you know. So that's my suggestion for the integrated this time. Now, I have to say that you really improved a lot on your structure because this is much closer to TOEFL's demands, you know. TOEFL really want this. You speak of the passage, speak of the lecture. Speak of the passage, speak of the lecture. Talking about that, as you're going to take the TOEFL this week, TOEFL will continue the same as 6 and 7 years ago when we talk about the speaking section. And in the speaking section, I don't know which source you use to study, but I've seen some sources speaking, sorry about the word, but bullshit about the speaking section. In questions number 3 and 4, you are going to read something, you're going to listen to something, and you're going to have to answer. Probably you're already familiar with that. Now, some people say, just speak of the listening. Don't do that. Why not? Because the TOEFL evaluation criteria requires you to speak of the reading and speak of the listening. Speak of the reading, speak of the listening. Speak of the reading, speak of the listening. So if you were practicing the speaking section, my suggestions in questions number 3 and 4 is speak of the reading until 20 seconds, no more than that. Just explain the background of the situation. And in the listening, you can speak up to 40 seconds. Always important to remember that you have to speak until the end of the time, okay? Because they need material to evaluate you. So if you speak for 15 seconds and you remain 45 seconds in silence, they won't have enough material to evaluate you. So that's what TOEFL wants you to do in questions number 3 and 4. Speak of the reading, speak of the listening. Speak of the reading, speak of the listening. And this square structure is the one you are going to have to use in the 3 paragraphs. Make it clear, explicit for any dumb person to understand where you took the information from. Got it? Well, there's nothing more to comment. They were very, very good essays. But just as I told you, I believe they are much above to what they will require you to do. Be dumber. I think you're the first person I've ever said something like this. See you later, dude.